Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. And what are we going to term this Friday?
Fall off Friday. Fall off.
Fall off Friday. I like that.
What a move it was. A ton of big selling across the board in the markets today, and we are going to cover it and go over everything that we saw today. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to all of our buzzer beaters. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. Twice. Okay, that's on my side. Give me 1 second. Can you actually hear us twice? If so, let me know. Can someone in the chat confirm that? Can you guys hear us twice, or is it just one? We'll keep going.
Yes.
All good here. Thank you. Maybe you have 2 tabs open. But welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about what a market that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay, a Topstep performance coach for 2 years now, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. And there we go. Genius Monkey. 2 tabs open. You hit like on both of those tabs. Hit like on both of those tabs if you can for us. We appreciate it. Grant Hill with the comment of the day. Best show on Topstep. Grant Hill, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Let's take a look at the news. Of course, and we were saying this for 3 months. Planned news takes a backseat to the unplanned news. Did anyone have on their bingo card that President Trump was going to use the T word again today? Planned news, we had Michigan sentiment come out a little bit better than expected, came in at 55, forecast was 54. We had a Canadian unemployment rate coming out 7.1%, forecast was 7.2%. But of course, the big news, why the markets are selling off today, President Trump warning of a increase in China tariffs and just the threat of an increase got markets to sell off really hard. Dakota and I were on Wall Street on Monday talking to a couple of people, and we said, hey, you know what is going to bring these markets down? It seems like a consistent bid. They were saying that there's a ton of money on the sidelines waiting to allocate to the market, but we didn't really see anything that could bring us down. Keyword, we saw it earlier this year, has the potential to do that. And again, this was just a threat of increased tariffs. So we'll be watching out. We'll be on tariff headline watch for the next couple of weeks, maybe months. Because if we do escalate tariffs with China and get back into that trade war, we know the deadline is supposed to be November 9th, I believe it was, to make a deal. Doesn't sound like we're anywhere close to that. Coach Paul, anything you got on the news?
Oh, well, that came out. And I found it curious, the timing. The news came out yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm reading that, and there's a lot behind that statement, more than just a tariff war. Those rare earths are vital to U.S. defense systems. So I just found it curious. It was yesterday, but it came out today, and I guess they took some time to say, all right, we're going to tariff you more. But like we said, anything can happen, and it happened. So one lesson I can say over that, we don't know when these headlines can come out. They come out at any time, unless you got a text from someone. I didn't. I made a classic error. I didn't practice what I preached. I was out last night watching that great Cubs game and kind of lingered a little afterward. So I was moving a little slow this morning. and I bought it on an opening range breakout. And I'm like, well, I got to get some coffee.
Yeah.
I should put in my stops.
It's a
And
boring day. I got some time.
I got some time. Yeah, I'm guilty.
Yep.
I went, but it was no more than 10 minutes. I don't know, have a cup of coffee and come back. And I look and it was like, this is 2 micros.
Yeah.
I'm down $650.
Yeah.
Like, what? So lesson, don't do it. Now, this was not on my Topstep X account. With my Topstep X account, my total loss would have been 250.
Yep.
And I can't tell you what a great tool that is because I don't have that on my CQG. And it's, if you're not using it, you need to use it. As a matter of fact, I think I get so used to using Topstep X now
Yeah.
that I don't worry about, oh, the stop is in, because it's in. But let it be a lesson. If you're not using it, use it. It's there for a reason, and it's a great tool. So I got to give a shout out. I mean, it's a beautiful tool, but I will tell you this: I preach. I only trade one side of a market, and rarely do I trade two. And we'll go through this breakdown. That break had big volume,
Yes, it did.
so I reversed.
Nice flip on that, right? Go with the flow. The flow was heavy to the downside for a good reason. And I think all February through May, we saw don't fight the headline. The market is responding to it. And once it does, Hogue coined the acronym last week, DFADM, don't fight a directional market, and got very directional very quickly, pretty much ending on its lows. Let's take a look then at these markets. To the downside today, we got 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts. To the downside, we had crude oil down 4.36%. The Nikkei down 5.92%, and micro Ethereum, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 7.72%. To the upside, we had silver up 1.19%, gold up 1.34%, and the ultra bonds up 1.51% for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. Again, to talk about our big four, we got crude oil down 4.34%, the S&P down 2.61%, gold up 1.38%, and the NASDAQ ending the day down 3.40%. We have not had a 2% down day in the S&P since April, in 6 months. And we got one today. It's funny. I was joining the show yesterday, and in between segments, talking to Jack in the green room, and he's just like, you know what? One of these days, we are going to have a 2% down. I don't know if Jack knew it was going to happen today. If he was on the president's mailing list before the information comes out. What a strong move that was. Let's take a look now at I'm going to pull up a NASDAQ chart on the weekly. What are we seeing here on the weekly, Coach Paul?
A 3-bar reversal.
Yep.
A possible blow off top. And what it doesn't do justice is that break happened
one day
in almost 1 hour.
Yep.
So that, what did we take out? 2-3 weeks?
Almost 3 weeks of price action. Yep.
In a hurry. After all-time highs, I've been looking for an engulfing candle. So that'd be the first sign. We don't know when it's going to come. It's come. And boy, the volatility exploded. And it was dirt cheap. But be a lesson. I mean, what is that? The daily, right?
That is the daily.
Okay. I'm going to hand that back to you. I know what I see there.
Yeah, huge daily candle here. We again took out almost 3 weeks of price action. That is the highest volume candle of one of, okay, it's top 5. Let's do one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's in the top 10. It's the 7th highest daily candle as far as volume goes on the day in the NASDAQ. Almost a million contracts traded, 894,000 contracts traded today. Again, taking out a huge range. That was significant selling. Again, we saw what tariffs did earlier. This was just a threat of tariffs, like that test balloon. Hey, we're going to increase tariffs on China. Um, we are nowhere near that trade deal that, it sounded like 4 months ago. Maybe we were getting close to. Comments from the president saying, I have no reason to meet with China's president. So it's almost a zero. It is what it sounds like to me. We do have the president making an announcement in about 25 minutes, so we will pipe that in as soon as we get it. But the markets heard tariffs, and again, that we're talking about 1,000-point range day in the Nasdaq, taking out 2 weeks of price action, selling through the 20 and close to the 50 moving average on the daily. Is it a necessary pullback? Did the market need this? Maybe, but is this the way we wanted to do it? Question.
Oh, Flint rice spout, orange swan event. I would trademark that. That's pretty good. But look at that volume on the daily. Like you just mentioned, we talk versus a J trade versus a continuation trade. This has a high probability of continuation, and especially in a blow off top. There's, I mean, we're just fresh into this. As day traders, we're like, wow, what a wild day. There's some people coming home and going to spend the weekend going, what happened? It was down 4%. We have all weekend to think about it.
Right. I was locked out before that move even happened. I had a couple trades on gold and had to run some errands. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a boring Friday, quiet Friday. Boy, was I wrong. I was listening to TopstepTV, and all I could do was hear Andre be like, oh, man, what just happened there? Literally, the team was on fast markets getting ready to talk about the weather, and this happened. So that's why it is always good to be aware of what the markets are doing and maybe have a little dry powder to execute some trades when it does happen, because this again happened pretty much all at once. Pretty quiet overnight session, not really a whole lot to talk about there. And look, continuation volume, that first big spike on the announcement. These are not moves that you want to fade. Again, having an approach to it. Coach Paul, you said you just hit the reverse button pretty much on your position.
Yeah.
Why do you feel confident doing that in a trade like this? Because it's
Well,
not something you do a lot.
no, and that fits in with the question someone was asking here about volume. How do
market makers facilitate orders?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they got slammed. So what do I mean? There was volume. As we talk, hey Jay, what's your bid? And you say
By 5.
7 bid.
Yeah.
And you don't put a number in. I say, I'll sell you 5,000.
Mm.
And you turn around and go, I'll buy 5.
Right.
So now it's got to get filled. So that's where market makers are here. But so that volume went quick to market makers or short-term traders. Now that huge volume turned around, it never recovered. So when it broke that candle, I'm like, all right, this is my risk. If it gets above that candle, that volume is absorbed. That volume didn't mean anything. But if it doesn't, this imbalance has got to be worked out. And it took all day, and it really didn't work out. So That's one of the rare times I'll reverse.
Yeah. One of the things we talked about yesterday, Coach Paul, we talked about how to trade when the market tests that 200 moving average on the 30-minute, because it's not just a blind buy or a sell, right? We talked about framing out. We literally did this yesterday. Framing out the candle that tests that 200 moving average, attaching a VWAP to it, and that will tell you the market's response to that level. If this is our opening range, that flow was urgently to the downside. Again, this is liquidation type of price action. Sell everything we have. Don't care what price you get. We have to get rid of it. And that is what it looked like today. Again, a 1,000-point range day in the NASDAQ, and making new lows right at the end of the session. 24,384 quarter. Next week is going to be an interesting one. Look out for any headlines, any escalations in this trade war starting up again. And in 2 weeks, we're going to get the inflation data. That is some news as well. The BLS is putting out CPI on October 24th, so 2 weeks from now. Anything else you got on the NASDAQ, Coach Paul?
No, but I will go back to the lesson. You just said next week ought to be very interesting. Get rest.
Yeah.
Come in ready.
Yep.
It's going to get the feeling we're going back to the April kind of markets.
Agreed.
Don't do what I did. So
yeah. Also, daily ATRs, right? Today's price action brought the daily ATR up 50 points in the NASDAQ. Remember what February, March, and April were like. If you have to size down in order to take some of these trades, that is okay. Could you trade minis and make huge windfall profits? You could, but if we're seeing this volatility start to increase, maybe a good time to start to scale down a little bit, and you can still make some great profits. But you want to be in these trades and not worried about a catastrophe if you forget a stop, or the market just does something pretty crazy. Spreads get wide, and there is a ton of volatility in these markets. Joe wants to know, how do we differentiate between continuation volume and absorption volume? Good question, Joe. So continuation volume, you could say you're not going to know until it happens, but absorption usually happens at an extreme, right? So and how do you know it's an extreme until it is? You got to wait. So what we like to do is, if I see high volume, I'm going to attach VWAP to it. If VWAP continues in the direction of that volume aggressively, right? You see the angle of this VWAP, it's almost, this is like a black diamond if we were skiing, maybe a double black diamond. This is continuation, right? We see a range. This is continuation. It's continuing to flow to the downside. Absorption volume, right, or where that volume might be stopping. If I attach, this is another high volume candle here, right, at these lows. If I attach a VWAP to that, it starts to flatten out. This is telling me that, okay, whatever flow that we were seeing to this downside for right now, since this candle printed, has slowed down. You can see we bounced back up, right back up to where the volume, where VWAP was before. But this was a liquidation day. So for the day, that flow was continuing to the downside. But once we got this print here, that's a little bit of an absorption of the selling that we had. That gives us a nice bounce. But that's the way I like to do it. You could read time in sales and just see the flow if the heartbeat of the market is continuing to sell off. But I think using that range and VWAP helps to visually see what the market is saying about these prices. Anything you want to add to that, Coach Paul?
Yeah, you hit it. That means it's a great question. So we're looking at that when that volume. Why I reversed, and because it was, like I said, it had a good probability of continuation. That volume wasn't just stops, right? You wouldn't have that large of volume. This was an entity or entities that know something that are like, get out. So how does that show up in volume? It was loud. And if it was going to reverse, it would have to, number one, close above the highest volume. Was it for a J trade or an exhaustion trade? And it didn't. So I put my stop above that high volume and said, all right, I actually had to get out of the way. I put the stop there. Don't watch it. So that's the difference. They couldn't take out that high that selling. If you're on a poker table and someone had pocket aces and kind of went, I raise you and I raise you again, I'm all in. There's a probably good chance got a good hand. They're going to be if you're continuing, you're fading them. I don't know.
Making a donation.
You're making a donation, so it's a good tell.
All right, let's take a look at the S&P. Courtney has a question for you, Coach Paul. When did you exit, or did you?
I added one on the close. And I'm just this is for a swing trade. This isn't a day trade.
Yep. Anything we say here is for educational purposes only, not investment advice. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
So no, I had to make up the
make up for the loss, right?
I did. But this is a rare thing. This is an engulfing candle. We've been talking about this. How is it the top? Well, I can't really. I learned a long time ago. You don't know the top until it's in, but you're going to get some signs. This is one of them. I'm willing to risk on a micro. I mean, it's not going to kill me, but as we see, if it is in, this could keep that couple micros in and out, but not a big one. I can't, because we just saw here that volatility. Do you think this was volatile today? Go back to that daily.
Here's a daily in the S&P.
This is a burp on that VWAP. So we'll talk about sizing down. Pay attention to the ATRs. We talked, but what was the ATR on the 5 minute in April? It was crazy. What was like 100?
But yeah, in the S&P, let's go back. I'm on the S&P chart now. Let's take a look at April. 5 minute ATR was pretty much you look and your account was blown. Yeah. All right, you blink once, account's gone.
I think the 5 minute was 20 points.
So at one point, I'm looking at this. This is some of these days. I mean, this was April 9th. April 9th was a clear anomaly day, right? We were 30 points at some point. 30 points in the S&P.
In the S&P. On a micro, it's $150. On a 5 minute, it's $1,500 on a mini. Better be right if you're over leveraged, and we talk about I'm going back to discussions. When do you change size? Well, you change it with volatility.
Yep. Just some interesting stuff here. I have this VWAP anchored to, you could put it in a couple different places. So we have it at the low of the year, but also April 9th is a decent spot to look at it. It's like a 30-point difference between the two. If we're going to go somewhere, a 20-day moving average is 200-day moving average is also. I'm not saying the trend is over, but this is different, right? This is different. A white line again, Coach Paul. Once we sold under it, night. Anything else you have on the equities, or do we want to move over to gold? I want to make sure we get through these markets before the president comes on.
Let's look at the gold.
Take a look at gold. Also, crude oil. What a friggin' trade that was today. I'm very happy I got out of that swing trade in crude oil when I did. Sold it at 62s, and that was the best trade I could have made. Because it was a loss. Take a look at gold. Not as volatile in gold. We talked about yesterday that very high volume candle, highest volume, one of the highest volume candles of the year on the daily, highest weekly volume candle. What are we seeing on the weekly first, and then we'll go down to the daily.
Continuation. I mean, look at the size of the volume. So, gold, I mean, I think some profit taking here on the weekly. We have to mark this week's low. if that's the top. When's the last time we broke previous week's low?
Last time we broke a prior week's low was August 8th, the week of August 18th, right after, we sat in that consolidation for a long time. So we were chopping in that range. The week of August 18th. We haven't done it since.
So every week you got to mark off the previous week's low to me.
Yep.
And I think we're taking a little rest here. But, gold has been this way. And behind the scenes, to me, this is setting up as a geopolitical war. And
Yep.
it might not, something. Trade wars can turn into hot wars through history. But here, this is a statement by gold. I mean, this is serious. That doesn't look at that chart versus the S&P or the NASDAQ. There's no engulfing.
No,
Yeah.
that's very stable. Very stable
Yeah.
over there in gold. When yesterday we were talking about it, it took a hit, but that hit didn't really change market structure much. And we can see it. We held the low of that candle from yesterday. Today, maybe just some profit taking. But where we saw a really strong reaction across the board, we did not see that in gold, holding up pretty nicely here.
Just to answer coach, I told you the bears are back in the pile. Why would you add to a loser? Actually, I didn't. I added to the sell that I had on that reversal. I actually scratched the day. So
Nice.
this one, this is a reversal candle here. So I'm willing to hold it. But just the difference between that gold and the NASDAQ tells you all. Gold still, this might be the top, but that's a different story.
It's a big might. I do want to go back to the equities really quick. Just planning for next week. And I see, who was that? Brandon says, I'm not convinced of the sell-off until we see what happens at 50% of today's move. I'm kind of with you on that, Brandon. I do need to do a little bit more analysis of where the heavy volume came in on this sell side. But we see moves like this. A lot of times we get a retracement back up to 50% of that. So I am curious to see, how we respond to this range going forward. Again, gold, inside yesterday's price action, we did close above 50% of that sell-off range. Are we talking about all-time highs next week? Are we talking about all-time highs on Sunday in gold? Anything else you got on gold, Coach Paul?
Well, is that if we break yesterday's high, we'll have a J trade.
Oh yeah, if we break above this high, we're going
to 5,000.
5,000s. Why not? Fundamentally, still great reasons to be buying gold right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a look at crude oil. Whoa, what is this? Big move in crude. We know the president has been talking about crude under $55, $58.78 close in crude. What are you seeing here on the daily, Coach Paul?
We saw urgency last night, and someone knew something. Is it economic slowdown? Because there was no OPEC news, but it's a big move. And we've been talking about it. It's been sitting under this 200. It's got to break the range. It didn't give you a chance to position it, but we got below that range again from earlier in the week, and the lows of this most recent range. It picked up, and to me, it was could be economic. Lack of demand, because it was vicious today in crude. So if we look at the half hour from last night,
Here we
We're
have
under.
half hour from last night. Under the 200 moving average. Volume tries to leave this range to the upside. Crude has just been stair-stepping lower until today, where it fell through a trap door.
Well, here, if you wanted, like, here's the thing: you could have bought that. It had a break. It did break out of that range, but but once again, you have a predetermined risk. If you wanted to buy it, you had the best trade of your day was getting out of that.
Yep.
But being under the 200 moving average, wow. I'm just kind of sore. I'm not going to quit watching baseball now. It cost me money. I wasn't watching the crude because that happened. When Shanghai opened up?
Yeah, right around there. We normally don't see. It's usually pretty quiet in the Asia session and picks up during London. During London, we did come back and test that 30-minute opening range, the Globex opening range. Volume was already below it, started to get aggressive, and a 4, and it's still going lower, 4.5% move to the downside in crude oil.
Oh, somebody has good. Why isn't gas going down? It's a really good question because crude oil has to be processed. And there's a thing called refinery. And in refineries, there's not enough refineries. So they can only process so much. So they capacity, refinery capacity. They can't, they're too busy. So you can bring crude down, but it has to be processed into gas. So that's the crack spread. I don't want to go into it now. Maybe someday we'll go into it. But yeah, just getting crude down doesn't necessarily, it's not going to move on a one-to-one basis, unfortunately. Very good question, though, because it annoys me. I agree. Like, come on, man.
Right.
For my $10
when are we going to see it at the
less.
pump? You're not. You're not. The president did say he wanted gas prices below $2. Let me know. Let me know where we can find that. I might have to drive to go get it. And at that point,
Yeah. I'll spend $150 to drive there to save $140.
Right.
It's because it's principle.
Really aggressive sell-off here in crude oil. We kind of did a speed run of these markets, looking for the president to come to the podium. It's supposed to be 3:45. Standing us up right now. Don't see him there yet. But again, the president is supposed to be making an announcement. So we'll try to hang out for a little bit. Any other markets we want to talk about, Coach Paul? We got Bitcoin.
Maybe he's watching at the buzzer.
Might be. Mr. President, can you tell us when it is another good time to buy stocks? I would appreciate that. Here we go with micro Bitcoin, Coach Paul. Pretty nice sell off here as well. We've been talking about it. Bitcoin moving like the equity markets. Equity sell off, Bitcoin sells off as well. 117,552. These did not used to be as correlated as they are now. What are you seeing in this micro Bitcoin chart?
Well, triple top here.
Yeah.
Because it looked earlier, I got out. Thank God of a long. And I'm not looking to buy it again, but that looked earlier in the week like it was ready to blast the 150. We were even talking about it. But, the first loss is the best loss. And, man, am I glad I didn't hold on. But where did we go to? The 50 and the 20 right back? Is that 50% of the range of this latest rally, I think? But we're still above the 200. But, when you have violent moves like this in equities, it can affect other markets because of margin. Because bigger entities, if they take too big of a hit, they can be, by the way, they can be over leveraged. They might get out of some other assets to raise capital. There was a term for that. We're not there, but as volatility picks up, that's when you get contagion. What does that mean? Like, okay, get out of Bitcoin because we took. Why? Well, because we need the money, not because we need to get out. I'm not saying it, but it's we've talked before. Equities and Bitcoin are running neck and neck. So well, how much of that? It's an interesting question. New lows. So, wow, we're down 200 in the S&P right now. Something just happened.
Something just happened. I am.
Oh,
Wow.
this is.
We are still selling here.
It's dumping. Good word.
Trump imposes a tariff of 100% on China.
Oh my God.
100% tariff on China from President Trump. That is coming out right now. We're continuing to see the equity sell off. The S&P is down 0.5% on that news. The NASDAQ is continuing to sell off as well, making new lows as we speak. I don't see the president at a podium yet. We have a link to bring him in here. U.S. will impose 100% tariff on China starting November 1st. That
holy wow! Look at the
answer. The response here. We are making new lows on the day here. 24,267 last trade in the NASDAQ. On November 1st, we'll impose export controls on critical software. There are comments coming out right now as we speak from the president. Again, I am refreshing the link that we have. Live event has not started just yet, but we are getting the comments from the president in real time. Equities continuing to sell off. 24.2 last trade in the NASDAQ. Continuing to sell here. Do not try to fade this market right now. This is not a dip to try to buy. Again, do what you want. I see some people saying, "Hey, I just dropped, dropped 5K in my personal account." Just be careful fading moves like this. Saw it all February through May. There will be a time to buy it. Trying to jump in front of a move like this can get a little aggressive. So China sent a letter effective November 1st, 2025, imposing large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make and some not even made by them. This is Trump on Truth Social right now. China sent a letter effective November 1st, 2025, imposing large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make. So the retaliation is 100% tariffs on China.
Acknowledged.
We are continuing to make new lows here. 24,228 in NASDAQ. Again, continuing to sell off. We saw the NASDAQ close the day about 3.5%. We are now down 4.2% in the NASDAQ right now, continuing to sell off. And this
dollar is falling apart, yes, it is against the yen. That's
gold. Really, no response yet. Gold kind of just holding up here. Bitcoin continuing to sell off here, making a low 115,750. And this is why you join at the buzzer on a Friday, because you never know. Never know what's going to happen. This information is coming out on Truth.
And he's not even talking, right? He just put out. Did he put out
yeah, he's putting out
war. It's a trade war. This is. Well, I don't want to look at the way the market is reacting.
Yep, the
Bitcoin
market is
clobbered.
Yeah, the market's telling us right now. Sunday evening is going to be okay. President making an announcement. That's on AP, so I don't know that we can bring that in. I do have the link. I'm refreshing that to see whether or not our link is live, and we'll try to bring that into you as soon as we can. And headlines coming in: 100% tariff on China starting November 1st. Retaliation from a letter effective November 1st sent by China imposing large-scale export controls on every product they make, virtually every product they make, coming from the president right now. NASDAQ continuing to make new lows here, 24,206. We do have the markets getting ready to close in about 5 minutes, so we'll see what
Oh,
we are
wow.
down here.
Oh,
No circuit
Bitcoin
breakers.
is
No circuit breakers.
falling off the face of the earth.
Yes, it is. We can pull up a couple of different charts here.
Yeah.
Markets are responding heavily to this here. This is an aggressive sell-off to go into the weekend. We'll make for some interesting trading next week. Again, the tariff T word is back on the table. NASDAQ trading 24,173. Just to remind everybody, we were 8 points off of an all-time high in the NASDAQ today. We are trading almost 1,200 points lower right now, continuing to sell off into this close. About 5 minutes to go before the markets close. I got a NASDAQ chart up on the top left, S&P on the top right. We'll put micro Bitcoin on the bottom left because that's continuing to sell off as well.
Wow.
And we'll look at gold, the stable market of gold right now holding up pretty well here.
Now let's put a 1 minute chart in the NASDAQ and the S&P, because we were just talking, with the volume. Now this is after the close.
Yep,
Now that if the volume is coming in,
absolutely.
where are you going with it? If someone sells you 500,
Lower.
lower, do you take it over the weekend? No, you take it.
Right.
And we're seeing that
Look at
layoff in
Bitcoin.
all
Look at
these different
Bitcoin. Look
markets.
at Bitcoin.
Yeah, and the yen is Bitcoin
Gold selling
can't
now
find a
as
bid.
well. Bitcoin is getting smashed right now. Wow, Bitcoin is just tanking. 113,000 in Bitcoin. We were just trading 117,000. Seeing big pullbacks in all of these markets. What happened to the Russell? I don't got enough screen real estate for the Russell right now. But
We're
it's
gonna have
selling
to
off
leave
too.
our cousin out to dry.
Hey, he'll be all right.
Wow, what an explosive
Yep. And
moment.
like you're saying, Coach Paul, with this, these liquidations can show up in a bunch of different places, right? If I'm holding some assets somewhere and I'm getting a margin call somewhere else, I might have to sell something to cover margin somewhere else, right? So if the equities
Yeah,
sell off, we might see, and it could be just a short time frame reaction. But does this news really affect Bitcoin? Who knows? But we're seeing, whatever you think is going to happen, we're seeing what the markets are saying, seeing some selling as well. You pull up a bond chart. Bonds are doing.
yeah.
30-year
Yeah,
is up on that news.
30 years up almost two handles, a handle and the orders, as we used to say in the grains. It's up a point and a half. They can't even, and this is picking up speed into, we have what, 2 minutes left?
Yeah, markets close in just over 2 minutes. Markets close in just over 2 minutes. Again, I'm looking for comments from the president. I'm not getting them yet. The video that we have is not live yet, so we can't bring anything into you. But we will bring you all the comments. Again, markets continuing to sell off here. NASDAQ made a new low, 24,158. Check what we are down percentage-wise over here. Down 4.36% in the NASDAQ right now. S&P is down 3.37%.
Crude oil's making new lows.
Crude just traded
Down-
through Hoag's weekly kickoff, 58.50. Shout out to Hoag. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. 58.23 last trade in crude oil. And
Wow, and let's watch. Here we come into we got a minute and a half left. This is going to. Who wants to? You want to take along over the weekend with this?
not I.
Well, you better have big pockets, or I don't. But yeah, very wild last minute coming up.
Billy says the hunt for Red October. That
Yeah,
is kind of what
yeah,
we're seeing here. Man, this is going to be a fun week next week. Remember, extreme volatility on the back of some of these tariff headlines, right? We already got what the escalation was, 100% on China. What can we expect? Is there a response from China? Then does that lead to a response from the U.S. again? It is sounding like we're not even anywhere close to a trade deal. Doesn't, but we have to trade the markets that are in front of us. When we see some of these breakout moves happen, I know I've done this as a trader. It can't keep going down like that. It can. As much
And
as
there
it
we
can keep
go.
going up. So try not to fade these moves. We got 20 seconds into the close.
Seconds left. Bonds making new highs. Yen is exploding. So yeah, liquidity, it's spreading out. By the way, Paul Tudor Jones said that this was a possibility earlier in the week.
Courtney says, "Is this move exaggerated?" And there we go. Markets are closed now. And officially, quote, percentages: S&P down 3.35%, the NASDAQ down 4.35%, crude oil down 5.32%, gold up 1.58%, micro Ethereum down 10.67%, the Nikkei down 6.91%, micro Bitcoin down 5.72%. Wow.
Wow is right. Courtney, sweet baby Jesus, is this move exaggerated because the book is thin? That has something to do with it too. Now we're on Friday. We've had a trade war that's just been jacked up.
Mhm.
It's the range is what, 1,200 points, 1,100 points. So yeah, it's exaggerated, but this is about liquidity.
Yep.
Big entities want to get some size off. And I remember this. I used to trade in the night pit in the bonds. And big news events like Iraq invading Kuwait. It's slow. And it's usually slow, 80% of the time. All of a sudden, someone comes in and it's happened. I'll never forget. Out of nowhere, someone comes in and says, "What's there?" And he says, "Sell 500." And we're like, that immediately moved at 5 ticks. It took sell 500 more. And then it kept on coming. The news didn't come out for a half an hour.
Oh, wow.
It was like, what is some Kuwaiti guy and I'm running in the desert with a phone saying, "Get me out." But when I say that it was big volume trying in a thin market, where are you going? So yeah, they can be and will be exaggerated.
We got a lot going on here. We still got a government shutdown going on. We got trade war increasing, or picking back up again. This is what a way to end the week. What a way.
What a way to end. Wow. I'm glad I added. Um, Pit
Yeah,
trade.
nice ad.
If you were watching Bookmap before the sell-off today, it was so weird. Huge overhead supply just before the drop. It was like, WTF? Are they gonna do all that? I didn't see that, but I booked for those in Bookmap, and that's an interesting. So there's inventory above the market.
Yes, there was a good amount of it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, there was a good amount of it before that sell off. Yep. It kept me
Now
from
my
buying it. I didn't sell it, but it kept me from buying it because there was a decent amount of selling this morning.
so my question is, did those sellers react after the news and then just go to the market or bring it down and start hitting bids?
There was a decent amount of chasing.
Okay. That to see now that's good information. I mean, you could, by the way, I could see that in the volume
Yep.
because if they didn't, they weren't fulfilled. They were offering it higher, and so that means they're sitting there looking to release some inventory. I don't think a size like that wouldn't be people trying to sell the top.
Right.
Institutions don't act that way. Although maybe it was Paul Tudor Jones. I don't know.
Somebody knew something.
He but I doubt it because that's not if you wanted to get short, you're going to hit the bid. You're going to wait for it to come to you. So very interesting. Thanks for bringing that up. So you saw that too, Coach?
Yeah, I did earlier this morning because I wanted to buy it. I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like we can go take out all-time highs. And on the offer, they just kept refreshing the offer. It would get hit, refresh the offer, selling some more. So do we put on our tinfoil hat and say somebody knew something? Well, thanks to them for knowing it, kept me out of buying it. So you're able to read that order flow, read the flow of the markets, read the volume. Could keep you out of and it kept me out of a long today in the equities. Man.
Well, I feel good because I got clobbered early, and I doubled what I should have lost, is what I should say. This morning, if we looked at that opening range breakout, I'll take that every time.
You got to take the setup that's presented to you. But once things change, and this is a perfect example of, as a trader, you have to have a flexible bias. If I want to buy this and the market says no, don't effing buy this. Don't buy it. As a trader, I've faded these moves too many times. And even if you don't take a part of it, right? I made $442 today. Could have made a lot more than that if I kept onto this. I didn't measure for this. But when you try to buy and the market is aggressively telling you no, you got to do your best not to fade it. Hit the lockout button. If all you can think is, where's my opportunity to buy this? Do you get some bounces? Yeah, there was a 120-point bounce here in the NASDAQ. There was a 200-point bounce here in the NASDAQ as well. But if you're not perfectly timing these entries, it is a tough market to trade in. So, man, we never got those comments from the president. The video never went live. I think he is talking on AP has it, so you can maybe check the AP YouTube if you want to hear those comments from the president. But again, 100% tariffs on China as a retaliation for the letter that they sent effective November 1st is when these tariffs will go into effect. So just about 3 weeks from now. Anything else you got, Coach Paul? Yeah. Anything else you got?
ATR gone wild. Maybe we should do a series of videos with the ATR gone wild. Maybe that'll become viral. A great call, yeah. And seriously, this is when we just talked earlier in the broadcast about paying attention to that. I wanted to let's bring the 3-minute chart up and look at the ATR. At the opening, what was the 3-minute ATR?
At the open, it's not the open. Yeah. I thought this was the open. At the open, it was 12 points. At the tariff headline, it spiked up to 35. At the high of the day, it got to 77 points.
Okay. Understand that and watch that, because that's the market risk. So going back to March, April, people we went through this to understand position sizing. Because it tripled, quadrupled. So your risk, if you were one lot, your risk is synthetically a 4 lot.
Yeah.
Size down.
Size down. I like what Courtney says here. Okay, so let's think about this by looking at what happened before. Trump slaps tariffs on tariffs. Then the ES hits negative 10%. Then he changes the stance. We go, delays on tariffs, and then the market bounces again. I kind of made the joke in the chat earlier today. Are we seeing the dump and pump again? Right? We saw the markets sell off on tariff news, pauses on tariffs, and we rallied. I know there were a couple of people who were looking for, hey, where's the pullback that we're going to get for the next setup for the Santa rally? We are almost 5% just today off the all-time high in the NASDAQ. Is that a big enough dip for you to buy? 10% off that high puts us at right around 22,800. 22,800. We will see. We will see. I know there has been, threat of tariffs, and then we pull it back. We'll see what happens with this one, but as of right now, we got to trade what is in front of us. Maybe we'll hear it's another good time to buy for when it is.
Well, it's interesting, and we get it mixed up in this. There was a headline that I don't know if it was real or not, but I saw it. There was a YouTube headline. I saw it on some Twitter feed, which always, if you see something on Twitter,
Cite your
just
sources.
remember it came from Twitter.
Cite your sources. Yep.
That the Chinese leader Xi had a stroke. Let's mix that all into this.
Oh, wow.
Why would that headline come up?
Right.
It's like, by the way, he was born in 1953. Damn, he's older than me. He's an old guy. Yeah, very interesting. So we have full-blown trade war going on here.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we will be here to cover it all. We got 5 minutes left here. Markets are closed officially now. That felt like a marathon. We just started sprinting out of nowhere off those headlines. Coach Paul, anything you got before we go into the weekend?
Yeah, I'm just going to repeat it. Get some rest this weekend. Be prepared for next week. It promises to be a wild one. Don't do what I did. Go out a little later, 1:30 in the morning, and come back and think you're going to be on top of your game. Get enough rest. You're an athlete. Think of yourself as an athlete. You're coming into competition. You need to be on top of your game in this kind of market. So enjoy your weekend, get rest, and let's get at it again next week.
For that, Coach Paul. One thing I'll add, I saw somebody say, "Hey, you know what? I've got a great grasp. I've been trading futures for 2 months. I feel like I got a great grasp on my strategy, and then today humbled me." The markets have the ability to humble all of us, right? And that's why in this risk management over everything, right? Markets can only hurt you as much as you allow it by managing your risk. If you haven't traded extreme volatility, and if you started 2 months ago, you missed all of the crazy volatility early on in the year. This has the potential to get back to that point. Understand that if this is your first time seeing markets this way, you're in a learning phase. Right? Everyone is going to learn differently. You might see some big P&Ls on Twitter and Instagram right now. You're not seeing is all the bigger losses that are taken as well. So, in all this crazy volatility, manage your risk. Manage your risk. We will talk to you all next week. For joining, make sure you check out Anne Marie for the market kickoff on Sunday. We'll see if this volatility continues. It is sure to be a good one. I think Coach Hoop is doing his class 6 p.m. Central Time, so make sure you check him out as well. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. We appreciate you all hanging out with us on a Friday. Talk to you all next week.
Bye.